I played Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe this weekend and actually had a blast with it. And once you beat the game, you unlock a brand new campaign called Magolor's Epilogue, where you take control of my boy Magolor in his quest to regain his lost powers and abilities. As you play through the levels and collect those things, you can then use them to power up and upgrade your abilities. But hear me out. What if we never actually opened up that upgrade menu? Is it possible to beat the game? Let's find out. So after the beginning cutscene, you'll play the opening stage, which is actually a tutorial area. So this stage is actually meant to be played without upgrading any abilities, cause you just cannot do it yet. This means the level was easy to clear, and after completing it, you get rewarded with this first piece of the Super Fruit. Collecting those pieces actually rewards you with new abilities, but they are not bought or anything, so they don't count as upgrades for this quest. World 1-1 is actually another easy level, which is meant to teach you all about your new bomb ability, and thankfully it's actually quite simple and will be cleared quite fast. As you progress through the story, you'll see those special levels that are only unlocked after you upgrade certain abilities, which, if you remember correctly, is what we're not allowed to do. Guess we're not gonna be playing those levels today. 1-2 wasn't too bad, but I can already tell that the difficulty is increasing a little bit. I can see more and more enemies, and the fact that I can't upgrade my health points means I cannot take too much damage. This is definitely something that will be a problem down the line. 1-3 is the first of many levels where you have to move very fast, because there's a wall of death following you at all times. As our attack isn't upgraded and is actually pretty weak, I think it's better to dodge the enemies and move quickly to the end. And there we go, it's now time to fight a boss. Not gonna lie, you have to stand very close to it in order for your bullets to reach, which I really dislike. This boss has many attacks to dodge, but thankfully I managed to figure out that you can actually do rolling dodges. Yeah, just like in Super Smash Bros. And that was actually very helpful. I managed to soon defeat the boss, but look how much health points I had left. If all bosses are gonna be like this one, it's gonna get very challenging. World 2-1 was actually pretty simple, as long as you don't fall in the lava, because if you do, well, good luck getting out without your hovering upgrades. Why is this dude's jump so bad? I miss Kirby. 2-2 wasn't too bad, but it does feature a crap ton of enemies, so get ready to dodge them if you want to reach the end alive. In 2-3, there's a lot of pits to fall into and a bunch of lava to get burned by. And yes, you guessed it, the fact that we cannot jump very high or glide for a long time makes this level quite dangerous. 2-4 features another wall that forces you to move super fast, but to be honest, it is not that difficult to dodge or fight the enemies on the way. 2-boss pits you against the fiery puffer, and oh boy was this one difficult. Having to stand next to this giant flaming ball of pain is scary, and dodging his attacks without our levitation is actually pretty hardcore. I had to memorize the patterns and do a bunch of midair jumps, and yet some attacks I just didn't understand how to avoid, if they were avoidable at all. I died quite a lot at first, but eventually I started to figure out his patterns, and after a couple more tries, I managed to defeat it, but as you can see, my HP was also quite low, so I think I was a bit lucky as well. Defeating this dude gives us a new ability which allows us to dodge in the air, which will be more than welcomed in a quest where dodging enemies is very important. Thanks to that new ability, World 3-1 was actually very simple to clear and the enemies were no threat. I actually learned something new thanks to 3-2. Some levels feature those fountains that you have to protect from enemies, and you know, during my normal playthrough, I always managed to protect them easily. Well, without proper upgrades and abilities, you can actually fail to protect them, and when they explode, let me tell you, they explode. Ouch! Thankfully, this explosion didn't kill me, and I managed to clear the stage that way. 3-3 was an okay stage, as it didn't feature that many enemies. Like, I just had to be careful and dodge all of the hazards on the way, and everything was good. The thing is, 3-4 was actually filled with hostile enemies that want me dead, and with that itsy bitsy teeny weeny health bar, well, getting hit by them isn't something I can afford anymore. I'm a bit afraid of what's next. Hey, speaking of, we are fighting Hydriath. Hydriath? How do you even pronounce that?
Hydriath.
This boss was pretty hardcore. He has many attacks, and to be honest, I died quite a lot. But just like the previous bosses, each death actually occurred a bit later in the fight, and eventually I started learning all of his patterns and managed to find ingenious ways to avoid them all. And hey, he's dead! Let's go! World 4-1 was thankfully way easier. Like sure, there's a bunch of things to avoid, and the enemy showdown at the end of the stage was kind of painful. One hit was all that was needed to defeat me, but I managed to actually survive and then made my way to 4-2, and this one's not very difficult, as it's more about platforming challenges instead of having enemies to fight. Despite not being able to jump high and glide far, I still managed to avoid falling down in the pits and made my way to the end alive. 4-3 was actually a pretty cool stage. It's some sort of mini-boss gauntlet, so you have to fight The Rock, Link, Donkey Kong, and last but not least, this dollar store version of Meta Knight? Okay. Thankfully, these guys are not particularly difficult to dodge, meaning that I managed to beat them all. 4-4 was your typical speedrun level. The wall is going to crush you, so move left super fast. It was kinda simple. I wish I could say the same thing about 4-Bus, but you see this Magolor face over there? Well, that's exactly the face I was making while fighting the dude. Once again, this is a boss with many attacks, and a few hits is all that it takes to defeat you. Like, look at the damage one single hit can do. Ouch. I had to actually learn all of the patterns and find ways to dodge them all. Lots of rolling dodges had to be done, and some mid-air dodges as well. Eventually, I made it to the second part of the fight, where there's like 4 bosses attacking you all at once. Surprisingly, this actually made the fight a bit easier, as they all share the same health bar, meaning I could squeeze more hits and deal more damage. And they're dead! Yes! Time to grab the final fruit shard and get rewarded with the option to further upgrade my abilities? Come on, bruh. I'll never upgrade my abilities no matter what. Anyways, as I grabbed the fruit, it turned into the final boss, aka the Crowned Doomer. This dude has so many attacks and learning to dodge them all takes quite a lot of time. I died again and again and again, and eventually I managed to get his HP so low that he started using new attacks, which actually were easier to avoid. So yeah, this boss actually gets easier. Sure, I died a couple more times learning how to dodge these new attacks, but sooner than later, the boss was dead and... oh, wait a minute. He's still alive. Introducing the Master Crown, aka the true final boss. And I'm going to be honest, I actually spent way less time on this one than on the Crowned Doomer. The Master Crown's attacks are actually pretty easy to dodge. The main difficulty is having to wait for the perfect opportunity to attack him, because he lurks in the background and you can only deal damage when he attacks you. But yeah, I soon hurt him badly enough for the final phase to be started, and guess what? Once more, it's actually easier than the first one. Use your air dodges to avoid the explosions caused by these fruits, and look at the stars in the sky to dodge the right way, and bada beam bada boom! The boss is dead, the credits are rolling, and we still haven't upgraded a single thing. So yes, it is possible to beat Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe Magolor's Epilogue without upgrading a single ability. The levels are a bit more difficult, but you know, not that much. It truly is during the boss fights that you actually really miss your upgrades. But with enough patience and enough practice, this can all be done. Let's freaking go! Anyways, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!